Welcome to Your Spiritual Besties podcast. I'm Lauren Leduc.
And I'm Rashida McCoy. We're here to laugh, cry, learn, and connect with you.
We discuss anything and everything from our everyday lives to the magical, mystical, and woo-woo.
So take a deep breath, grab a cup of tea,
and set an intention to receive, because you deserve it, bestie. All right. Hello, everybody. Hi, Rashida.
Hey, Lauren. How are you?
I'm good. I don't know why I put a question mark after that, but good. So I wanted to say that you had asked me this in another episode. I don't know. It might have been when Melody was on, and I just defaulted to the normal, like, good, great, I'm fine, tired but good. Mom
I do
life.
remember that. Yeah.
And immediately after that, I just felt like not shame, but I was like, this isn't why we started this podcast. I don't want to give that surface, like, I'm fine, I'm good answer that, like, I've given 99 times out of 100 my whole life whenever somebody's asked me how I am. So um, I want to try to answer that more honestly. And, I'm probably not going to like unload at someone on the grocery store or at the grocery store or something like that. But like, when I'm talking to a friend or family member, I guess I want to answer like as honestly as possible. So that's something I'm going to intend. And so, you know, actually really good. I feel excited. I'm doing like all this garden planning right now that is like lighting me up, like which is great because a lot of times besides like momming and all that, I mostly get lit up by work. So having something that has nothing to do with any of that has been like a very grounding experience for me. Um, we had a dance party to the Troll soundtrack this morning, so that was a lot of fun. And yeah, I'm feeling like hopeful, and that's truly where I'm at right now. So I'll ask you, Rashida, how are you really?
Yeah. I love that you like really thought about that and sat with that, and you have this intention going forward to be, honest, not just with me, but with yourself. It's one of those things that we're so ingrained to say, I'm fine, I'm good, that it's hard to break that habit, and we sometimes might even allow ourselves to believe it until we actually take that step back. But well, for me, honestly, girl, I am tired. You know that song? What's the song called? It's called The Sound of Silence, when they go, "Hello, darkness, my old
Yeah, I
friend."
do because it's on the Troll soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Yes, like
I knew it from Simon and Garfunkel,
I wake up and I immediately like hear that play in my mind. I'm like, there, okay, tired, we're here. Okay, come along for the ride this morning. So I'm a little tired. Miles is teething. So that's been fun for nursing, if anyone's familiar with that. That's so much fun. Need to probably get nipple repair after a
but
while. And and I other than the tired, I think when I start getting moving, I feel really good. I feel really good when I get in my body. I feel really good. And that just goes to show, let me just not, sit because I need the rest, but do things, other restorative things to kind of help me move me along in my day. So other than tired, I feel great. Just energetic about all the things that are coming together this year. So yeah, that's the honest answer. Great, but tired.
well, thanks for answering honestly. And yet, I never knew what tired was, not truly, until becoming a mother. The closest thing I can think of is like jet lag from travel, especially like when I've traveled from Asia or something like that on my way home. I can like barely keep my eyes open. But even then, like typically, if you're alone, you can just take a nap. And
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
caring for littles, like you don't really have that luxury. Maybe when they're napping, but people who say sleep when they sleep, like they're not telling the whole story and that like there's usually other things to do
Yeah,
while they're
they're
sleeping.
absolutely, and it'll drive you nuts if you don't get to that.
Yeah, or
In
they
the
have to be held the
beginning,
whole time or
yeah, or they want to be held. Yeah, I
yeah.
literally in the beginning when Miles slept, I slept because my body was recovering. Same thing with Macy, but now I just can't. I can't. I try to get him down, but Miles is a nurser. He likes nursing while he's sleeping. So it's like one of those things. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's momming, and there's all sorts of hacks that we can try to work, but ultimately our kids get to decide our sleep patterns.
They do. Yeah, speaking of nipple repair, so Gemma still nurses. And last night, she hasn't bit like for shits and giggles for a long time, thankfully. She's gotten past that phase, but she had like fallen asleep last night, and I went to like unlatch her and put her down, and she reacted by just like clamping down, and it took my breath away. I almost cried.
Oh, these little humans with teeth. It's cute but not cute at the same
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And yeah, sleep's been really difficult for the last couple of months between like sicknesses, and she has four molars coming in, and I think they're almost all the way through. But yeah, I don't know. I think we just get used to operating on little sleep, and the truth is we're strong AF because we get
So
up and do the
strong.
thing. We get up
Yes.
and do the damn
Yes.
thing every day.
Absolutely. I did want to say, like back in my early 20s, I remember staying up. I remember having all-nighters and like sleeping for 2 hours and like getting up and being ready to go. But it just hits different as a mom. Like, I think it's that consistent, like, go, go, go. So you're right. We are strong AF and we're stronger for it. And our kiddos, they're going to know how much we put in work for them
Yeah, because we will tell them.
because we will tell them.
Because eventually maybe they'll experience it for themselves, and then and only then will they truly know.
I'll be like, yep, cry me a river, girl, because I know.
So,
So,
speaking of authentic questions, we
yeah,
have a special episode planned. It's just the two of us, and we each got ourselves a little game to play,
I'm so excited
and
about this.
it's called "We're Not Really Strangers," and it's by Esther Perel. And it's a conversational game really meant to like ask the deep questions. We're not going to play it exactly according to the rules. We're really just going to draw questions from the deck and ask them to each other today. But I thought it would be a lot of fun because Rashida, you and I have been talking consistently. We've logged many, many hours of conversation between the two of us, and it just flows and we go from topic to topic. And there are a lot of things we have in common. But I was hoping that maybe we would maybe open up some new doors or like explore different parts of ourselves, like with each other, and and get vulnerable.
Yeah, I'm ready. You know me, Lauren. I
Yeah.
love to play. So,
Yeah. I love to play too. And like part of my practice and intention for the year, like I was talking about, was just to be like truly more authentic with myself. And it can be kind of scary to like, have a conversation that ultimately we're giving to the public to consume. um, but you know what? Like, why not? The cards have told us, the oracle cards, that it's time to like speak our truth, and it's time for everyone to be more authentic. And we're not going to just show up as the shiny people on Instagram who aren't fully expressed and like full of light and shadow. We're going to be that. We're going to be real humans.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and normalize things, I think, for people. Or maybe just show how weird we are, and that's fine
I
too.
mean, that works too. I mean, weird gravitates to weird too. We'll find our people as
Yes,
well in this.
absolutely. So these cards have like three levels of depth to them. So we thought we'd start with like a level one, and then we'll each draw one and move to level two and then level three, and we'll just see where this goes.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
excited. I love unscripted stuff because you never know where it will land you. And
yes,
that's the scary and the exciting part, right?
absolutely. So do you want to go first or do you want me to go first? Or do you want to draw first or do you want me to draw first?
Yeah, let me draw first.
Okay.
So I am in section one of these cards, going in the middle. I have not shuffled them, so they're all on the same thing. Ooh, okay. You kind of told the story before, but I would love to get this out of you again in a different light. So, what was your first impression of me?
Hmm. Let me think back to that wonderful November day in 2021. I think I'll do the first impression online and first impression in person too, because we met in person finally, like almost a full year later
Yes.
after that. So, my first impression, I don't know. Do you know how sometimes, or this is at least how I feel, sometimes like if I'm in a room with people who I don't know, there'll just be like a couple people that I get a little ping with and I feel like really drawn to. Well, that happens in Zoom too. So we're on this like Zoom meeting with how many people? Like probably a couple hundred people.
Yeah, it was like a couple hundred people. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I spotted you and I was like, she looks really cool. Like she's these beautiful braids or dreadlocks, and I can't remember actually what your hair was at the time, but
Locks, yeah.
yeah. And I was just kind of like, they put us in breakout rooms, and I'm like, I really hope they put me in a room with her. And then they did, which is really exciting. And you looked really cool. And then like your daughter was next to you, and she was sick, and I had Gemma with me, and I was like trying to spoon feed her food, like soup off camera. And on this first day of the coaching training, they basically put us into these groups and they're like, okay, one person coaches, one person gets coached, one person observes. And I think I coached you the first day, which I didn't know how to coach. We didn't have any topics to even like talk about, but we're just like, okay, we'll give this a try. And you immediately just felt so comfortable with you and like accepted. I felt comfortable to like put my daughter back on camera and be like, hey, I'm not like in a business suit in an office right now doing this training. I'm at the kitchen table like feeding tomato soup to this baby and it's all over her. Um, and it's okay. Um, and you just have like this very warm and accepting presence. And I know I've said this a bunch on the podcast already, but you're an incredible listener, even though I was like listening to you that day. I remember like you taking in the feedback and um so that was the initial impression. And I was just like, I really hope I get paired with her again sometime soon. And we did. We got paired together like all the time. And I think it was random, but I think our spirit guides were behind the
Right.
scenes, like
Exactly. Pulling the strings, orchestrating
yeah,
for above. Yes, absolutely.
exactly. And then in person, we met at this event in LA a few months ago. And first of all, you're really short.
Okay, guys, hold on one second before Lauren gets into this. Let me preface this. We were all ready to go meet up, and she's like, okay, I just have to ask, how tall are you? I need to prepare myself. Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah. Well, I think I wanted to just feel like prepared to meet you in person because you know how you see somebody on a screen, like an
Yeah, you don't
actor or something,
know.
and you meet them in
Yeah.
real life and they're like way short.
Oh, I'm so short. We are like a foot and a half, I think, difference almost, maybe. Maybe not that much.
No,
How,
no, we're
maybe
just a
11
few
inches.
inches.
How tall are you? How tall are you,
I'm,
Lauren?
I'm like 5'7".
Okay, 7 inches. But I'm short all the time. I'm 5'1 1/4. So
Okay. Okay.
with shoes on.
I don't know why I answered you. It's not like if I would have seen you and you're short, I would have been like, now we can't be friends. I think like I don't know. I just wanted to like get a sense for your physical presence, you know?
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Because I have the impression that you were tall, but I'm like, I've been fooled before, so I just want to prepare myself.
But in person, besides being short, which I'm totally just teasing about, you are exactly the same. But it's always so good to like feel someone's energy in person.
Yeah,
So it definitely comes across like online and on the phone, like you're very warm and very bright and you have like a very like inviting and magnetic energy. But to like really feel that in person is lovely. And it was so nice. Like you had Miles with you and he was so little at the time. And I did have Gemma with me, not at the event, but like at the hotel and stuff. And it was just like so nice to be together with our kids and to like be able to help out with Miles. And like I felt like that really solidified our like, beyond friends relationship. Like it was more family. Like I wanted to step in and help wherever I could and
yeah.
snuggle your little guy and help you nurse. Not like really help you nurse, but you know what I mean. Hold him while you set up your little pillow and stuff. And yeah, yeah. So those were my two first impressions, and it's funny that they're like almost a year apart from each other.
Yeah, I love that so much. You know how sometimes you get like a little nervous sometimes? Like I'm like, I know her, but being in someone's like physical energy is just a little bit different. You almost like don't want to get disappointed. And honestly, I've gotten that before where I've talked to somebody for a while and then you meet them and you're just like,
Yeah,
I don't know. That didn't translate online. So whereas being online is great, I also feel like there is this need for community, yes, but like also take it a step further and like from time to time, like actually be in the physical presence of someone to not only for the validation that it's like, yeah, this is like what I've been feeling and all, but I think too when you get with someone, you like can calibrate energies as well. Like it was just so easy to be with you, to be with your family, really, because it was your whole family. We even hung out as well. And it was just, I felt normal. It felt nice. It felt easy. It just felt like, oh, I could literally be living down the road from this chick and this could be like our every other day thing that we do. It just felt really good. And you're right. It solidified that portion for sure.
it did, and I think it was one of the like determining factors of like even putting the idea of a podcast across. It's like let's see how we are in person, even though like we're mostly going to be recording from different states. But you just still want to have that deep feeling of trust and connection that in person can really help with. I do want to like say though that having spent so much time online, there's so much or on phone, there's so much value to that too, because we're not walking around, we're not doing things together. We're just talking.
Being, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we might be doing things around the house or something like that, but you really get to focus on getting to know somebody. And like before Arthur, my husband, moved here to Kansas City years ago, we had a good like 8, 9 months apart, long distance, and it was hard, but it was a really good experience too because we got to like just talk and we didn't have all the other like stuff going on that we usually did. And we weren't going out on dates and we weren't entertaining ourselves with other people. Like it was literally just like we're going to get to know each other really well because we're probably going to get married. So this is a really good
This is
experience.
what we do. Yes.
Yeah.
It kind of
So
reminds me of that Netflix show Love is Blind, where everyone's in the
yes.
pods and they don't see each
Hmm.
other, but all they do is talk. So it was like that, right? Only you get to see each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that show's so funny. The worst is when they talk and they fall in love and then they see each other and they're like, nope, not
Mm.
attracted.
And you're like, oh my gosh, they're gonna be together forever. And they're like, it is just not physically there. And I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
But great entertainment nonetheless. So
But there was like one couple from the first season or a couple couples that are still together, but Lauren and Cameron or something like that.
Love
Oh my
them.
God. Love them so much. Follow them on Instagram.
Me
They
too.
are they are goals.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, I totally I feel like where we are going as a society is online. Like that's where we are, right? But I don't think there is any turning back from that. However, I do know that's what's going to be the important factor of creating in community spaces, intentional in community spaces. I mean, going out to the bar or whatever, that, I mean, that's fine if that's like your thing, but I'm talking like spaces where you can actually be physically present, having the deep conversations, playing games like this, so you really know what the person is talking about, what they actually feel. And you get to like uncover some of that like surface layer stuff and get like deep. So yes, online, and I feel like you can get deep online, but I don't know, maybe it's just I just still love like the tangible in-person experience. I love being around people. It's just something about that just lights me up as well.
Yeah, it's different energy. So do you want to answer the same question or should I pull a different one?
What do you think? I'll let you decide.
Yeah, you answer. I want to know.
Okay, so I did not. So when we got put in the breakout room, I did not get like the nervous, trying to like be professional type of vibe from you. I really got this like, oh my gosh, like I think you're gorgeous, Lauren, for one. And
Oh,
yeah, like that was like one of my first impressions. Like, she's gorgeous. And then it was like, man, she just has this like really soft, flowy energy about her. Like you just seem very not put together like in a professional standpoint, but just like easy and just like flowy and like very put together. And there was just something so inviting about you that I was like, oh, I'm really glad we got together. Now, I did not see you in the main thing because I was so nervous. I was like only focused on the speaker. But when we got paired together, I was like, oh, okay. There was just something so bright and soft. It's weird I say bright and soft, but just bright and soft about you. Very inviting, very flowy. So I didn't get that nervous energy from you at all. And then in person, I feel like, okay, this is Lauren. Oh, wow, this is Lauren. So my first impression, again, you're even more beautiful in person, but like your energy translated the same. Like you were very, and I hate to say the word soft because people are like, oh, she's soft, but like just this, the feel of you, your energy is just very soft and very inviting and just like, come along with me. Like you and I were going to be perfectly fine. We got this. Like we're in it to win it. So my first impressions were just of, ease and invitedness. Like you just have this like energy that just pulls you in. And then like you glow. Like I don't know if it's your skincare routine or not, but you just have this glow about you that is just I don't know. It just makes you want to just look at you and talk to you and like really deep dive into you. And like you really see like when you're talking to me, even from the beginning and even in person, like we actually like look at each other. Like we look off sometime, but like you are really seeing me. Like that was my first impression. I think sometimes when I meet people, I don't feel like I have them like
mm.
fully, and I was just able to fully drop in with you in those both situations. So that was my first impression of you, just being able to
Oh.
like have that.
Well, that feels so good to hear. And I'll also tell everyone Rashida's gorgeous. And no, and you have something about you too. Like, I don't know if it's the glow. It's like, well, I think I said like magnetism when I was talking about my impression. There's just something like that you want to be near, like a warm fire.
Yes, 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 that's what it is. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. You do the same for me. So
Mm, well, that makes me happy. All right. I will. Should I stick with level one or do I go into level two? I'll pick a level one.
Okay.
This is so silly, but okay. What does my phone wallpaper tell you about me? So I guess I'll show you my phone wallpaper.
Okay.
It's my vision board for the year.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so it tells me that one, just based off of the first impression, it's very bright, it's very vibrant. You're such a bright and vibrant person. And like you're very deep and spiritual. Like I didn't know that, right? Like I didn't know that. But like family is important to you and like the you know your nutrition is very important to you. And like there's just something you don't have to keep on doing it. Like there's just something you're like her thing keeps on going back to like making it dark. But there's just something like when I look at that, even though there's so many different things going on, it just looks like the word that comes to mind is like whole. Like
Mm,
it makes me think you're like whole, if that makes sense.
thank you. Yeah, and I will not be sharing that on Instagram because it has my book cover on it, and I'm not showing that to anybody
Okay.
yet, except for like my deepest inner circle. So, um, soon enough, I'll show you my
Mm-hmm.
vision board for the year. Let me see yours.
Oh yeah. Mine is not the same. Uh,
Oh my God, stop it. You should show everyone that though. So it's Maciana sitting in a little rocking chair with a green dress and a green like flower crown on, or maybe green and white, and Miles sitting on her lap looking like a little grump with his beautiful big cheeks and little he's a big boy.
he is a big boy.
And I just would think that every time you look at that, it makes you smile because they just look so adorable. And Macy looks so happy to be holding her little brother. She
Yes,
looks like she feels like a big girl.
they are, they make me so happy. Even with the lack of sleep, I am just full of joy by their presence and them deciding that it was me that got to be their
Mhm.
mama. And and I know, Lauren, you know this about me. Macy was my catalyst for change and change in a completely different way than I ever imagined. And I fully believe that our children come to us at a time that they're supposed to, and that they give us the opportunity to see ourselves for who we really are and who we want to be. And it's up to us to make that decision of the people that we want to be, not only for them, because that's the small part, but for ourselves. Like Macy did start this, but I wanted to become this different person for me as well. And I think that is the root of everything. You have to want it for you. So when I think about them and I see their cute little faces, I do get really excited and joyful because there's just so much opportunity in having children. The world I came from before children, it was like a burden, and it can be burdensome at times, I think, depending on where you are in your life. But I truly believe children are supposed to enhance our human experience and teach us things. Everyone's like, oh, what do they know? But they know. They have so
Yeah.
many codes and they're just living it, right? They don't know how to share it with us besides being who they are in the present moment every single day.
Mhm.
And if we just take the time instead of trying to dominate that and get them on our level,
Yeah.
really step down and be on their level,
Hmm.
like
Yeah, that's
it's,
exactly what I was thinking. Like just get on their level and you'll learn everything you need to know.
yes, yes. And you have to listen, and listen with the ears of a child and maybe not so much of an as an adult, right? Because it's a different vibration. They are
Yeah.
vibrating completely differently. Okay, I just got off on a tangent. See, this is why I love
No.
this game. Like,
It's so good. why don't you pick, no, I'll pick a level 2 card. So level 1 was called perception and level 2 is called connection.
Ooh, okay.
So let's get connected. Whew, you ready?
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What part of your life works and what part of your life hurts?
Hmm. I don't know. So I guess when I think about this question, when I think about what part of my life works, the part of my life that works is when I'm able to just be, just be a mama, be on, recording with you on a podcast, just doing the things that light me up, massaging and creating and just really getting to just be in the moment. So presence works in my life. I think the part that hurts, and not so much a physical hurt, but more so it comes from like, I just wish I could just get this right hurt, is like putting it all together, meaning like the structure behind my life. Lauren, I think I shared with you, I was diagnosed with ADD in my, or ADHD. I don't know which one it is, the adult one, I guess. But I, with my doctor, I was, when I left work from Macy, I started working for a chiropractor doing some marketing. And I was just having a hard time sitting behind the computer and doing like simple tasks. Like it just, I kept getting distracted and distracted and distracted and distracted. I'm like, why is this so hard? Like, I literally managed a bank. Like, I can do this, right? And I went to my doctor and answered all these questions, and I found out that I do, have a attention deficit disorder, so ADD. And I got put on medication, and it made me feel like shit. Like, it just did not make me feel myself. I felt energized and like I could like complete things, but it was just coming from a place of a little bit of chaos, if that makes any sense. And so I think the part of my life that hurts, not in a painful way, but just I just want this to click somehow, is like the structure, having that balance of like not sitting in a dining room that has like stuff on shelves that are for, I don't know, my Instapot, being able to just like be more balanced and put together for myself, not because I care about what anyone thinks, but because I truly believe that if I can get that to click, like I'm going to find the flow of my life to be so much more rewarding and not just in these little pockets of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So I know that's something you're like actively seeking or working on right now. Are you finding different like techniques that work for you?
Yeah, so and part of me knows that once Miles gets a certain age, one, i.e., sleeping through the night, not needing to nurse through with me all the time, that I'm gonna get some of that back. So either having my time early mornings or really late to like get stuff done. And I am a night owl. I would prefer to like to do all my cleaning up and stuff and put myself together and sit down with a schedule and write it out at night. So what I am working on is just finding those little pockets of time where he doesn't need me to like, okay, let me get the monthly calendar together. Let me put all my stuff down in the monthly calendar. Okay, great. I have that. Let me like get with Daniel and we talk every Sunday on our game plan for the week. Like I'm actively just trying to like put things in place and not giving myself too much slack if it doesn't happen during the week, but having a game plan. And I think that's where I'm starting off. And then as I figure things out and as things start to get a little bit more normal and I can create that structure for all of us, it'll happen.
Mm, I think it will. But yeah, man, when there's that little, it's just, we can never be everything
Yeah.
anyway, right? But especially when so much of us has to be given in service to another being, like, I don't know. I think you're doing great.
Thank you. Thank you. And
You're
you know,
welcome.
I still keep, and I don't know why I keep forgetting that he is only 5 months, right? I keep
Yeah.
forgetting that he's only 5 months. And I think because really, it's like I've found what it is I want to do in life, and I'm just so passionate about just showing up and doing it, right? That I forget that, oh my goodness, like I literally have a 5 month old baby. Like I can chill for a little bit. I don't have to be in this like pit of space to like get stuff done and have the structure and create this and put all that action behind it because I'm still in that space of needing to be here with him and just like accept the nursing moments and just sit there and like stare at his cute little face and let him like squeeze my little lips even though his nails need to be cut and I haven't gotten to that yet, right? So it's finding that balance, and it's like different for me because when Maciana was at this space I was like, I ain't going back to work. I'm not doing this. I'd rather be home with my baby, but it's also because I wasn't truly passionate about what I had going on as well. So, but yes, enough about me. What about you, Lauren?
Yeah, for me, like things are working when I'm in alignment and things are hurting when I'm not in alignment. So, like more specifically, right now things feel pretty good. And I also feel really, really blessed and like lucky. My family's healthy, my
Mm,
daughter's happy. Um, my parents are healthy and alive, and I, my studio is like finally recovered after the pandemic. Um, my husband's restaurant is doing good. Like we live in a neighborhood that we love. Um, I get to get up every day and like truly do things that I love doing. And that is such a wonderful place to be because that is definitely not what my life has always been like. And I've had to like definitely work really hard to figure out like what works and what doesn't. Um, when I'm out of alignment, it hurts. So that's when I start like questioning if I'm a good mom, um, questioning like if I'm worthy of this blessed life. And when I start, it's always important to know what's happening in the world, but when I feel consumed by it and I cannot like do the things that bring me joy, that's when it really hurts. So I'm really learning, and have been learning over the last years, especially like, I mean, to having kids over the last few years has been particularly difficult, I think.
mm,
And, you're a Black woman too. So that adds an element of more difficulty that I can experience it in an empathetic way, but I'm not experiencing it like in my body. Um, you know, Nursing my baby while like watching protests and insurrections and like all kinds
mm,
of stuff like that. Wow, like just what a weird like dichotomy to hold of like joy and fear and sorrow for the human race at times and for the earth. Um, so for me, like to be in alignment, I have to have really good boundaries set up. And on a practical level, that means only checking my phone at certain times and only having like select sources for news. And it means like taking care of my physicality, my emotional self, which, wasn't easy to do at first when she was first born. Um, so that I can like be a vessel for joy and for the work that I love and for like being of service in the best way I possibly can be to for myself, for humanity, for my dharma. Um, So really it's all about like keeping that in balance. And I find like it hurts less when I let go of control a little bit more. So I do have like structures set up that are important to me. I'm lucky I don't have ADD. I'm pretty able to like focus and organize things pretty well. My husband on the other hand is a different thing. But when there are certain like signals I have to myself that like, okay, I'm not aligned right now. And usually it's pain and it's like anger because there's stuff on the counters, like clutter that
Yeah. Yeah.
someone else left there and I have to put away, or I don't know, things slipping through the cracks, or like just a day where I've got to get work done, but Gemma needs me so much and she's whining and crying. And then I question, like, am I doing the right thing for her? Um, I'd say, like, most days, everything feels like it's working, which is such a blessing. But yeah, it's kind of a matter of just being really aware and being able to like course correct or being able to let go when I need to let go.
And what does that let go look like for you?
It means I can get Gemma down for her nap and, leave her room and come work and not have to clean everything first to like be
Mm,
able to focus or to like focus on something that I need or want to do. That's like a real practical situation. It also means, let's take naps, for instance. She's been asleep not that long and she starts crying and needs help. It means like I go into her room and I hold her and she sleeps and I do my work that way. Um, it really means like letting go of the way that I think things, quote unquote, should be, and instead being more flexible and going with the flow
mm, yeah. I
and
think
not
that's
being all
such
or
a,
nothing.
yeah, I think that's such a big
Yeah.
lesson too, because it doesn't, I don't know, when we perceive people online, and this is the thing about being online, or we perceive other mothers or other people that seem to have their ish together, right? We are not getting that full story. And it feels like, this is what you have to be, and this is how you have to be in order to make things work. And that's just it's bullshit. It's not true. Like I love the fact that you're like, you know what? I'm nursing and I'm working at the same time. And sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I have the clutter and I just deal with it. And it's not this quote unquote picture perfect life. And I think there's so much power in knowing that and being able to just say, what is my life? What do I need right now in this moment? And what I need is to not worry about the mess. What I need is to do something that fills my cup up in this moment and let go of like that tiny part of me that feels like I need to clean something up. I know that's a battle that I have with myself often. So thank you for sharing that with me because the struggle is real sometimes, but I
Yeah.
find more joy in doing the things that fill me up. And thank God for my husband. He is not ADD and he loves a neat house. So there's
Yeah.
a
And
great balance there.
the thing about like, and I feel like these are somewhat mundane examples, but they're like daily life things. The thing about the mess is it's not about the mess, right? Like, of course, it's good to live in spaces that are sanitary and like it is easier to focus when things aren't everywhere. And life is a little more minimal. But for me, like noticing that trigger, it usually just means I'm overwhelmed in other ways, and the mess just feels
Mhm.
like the cherry on top.
Mhm.
And it's the easy thing to like point to.
Yeah. And I see exactly what you're talking about because I find when I get angry, and not so much maybe I don't think about the specifics of the person or the situation that I'm angry about. It is when I get the most the most cleaning done. And it's, really it comes from this space of just needing to like have some type of control in some
Yeah.
way, shape, or form. And it's weird that that comes up for me because I feel like I'm such an easy breezy person. I just like going with the flow. Like you remember when we were in California, I was like, whatever you want to do. That's usually my disposition, whatever. But I do think sometimes when things show up in other areas, like that anger comes out and me needing to control a situation is when stuff gets done. And I don't want
hmm
that to be the case for me.
Yeah, the rage cleaning.
The rage cleaning, yes. Oh, that was such a
Mhm.
great question.
Yeah.
Okay. So my turn. Am I taking from two or are we going up to three?
I have no idea how much time has passed, but I think we have time. I think we have time.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah.
We'll do two. Okay, Lauren. If you have, when was the moment you realized you weren't invincible?
Hmm. I'm trying to think. I'm sure there have been a lot of moments. I think, hmm, these take a minute to think about, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, I can't tell you whether or not this was the first time, but it's the time that sticks out to me right now. So in my 20s, when I would like PMS or get close to my menstrual cycle, I started having cramps that were so bad I could like barely breathe. I remember like
Mm,
pacing at work and telling my coworker like I feel like I'm in labor right now or something, and she had two kids and she just kind of rolled her eyes at me like sure you do. Now I know that it's true though, having been through it. Actually, it might have been worse in that there was no relief,
right.
there weren't contractions, it was just straight pain. um and I just wouldn't get it checked out and kept going about my business, and the weeks would go by and I'd forget about it, and then my period would come around, and I'd
It happened
experience that
again.
again over and over. And I was feeling particularly bad one time, and my friend had cut her thumb really bad, like my best friend at the time, and she needed to go to the ER. And she was like, "And you're coming with me?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll like come sit with you." And she's like, "No, you're coming with me. You need to get checked out." So I went to the ER and told them about my pain, and they did a CAT scan, and I had like one plum-sized cyst on one ovary, and then I had one that was the same size but it just burst on the other.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had these like large functional ovarian cysts, and like some doctors will say that you don't feel anything. Well, that wasn't the case for me. It was extremely painful. I have a pretty high pain tolerance. Obviously, I tolerated that for a long time, but the burst made it worse, and it's bad to have that internal bleeding from that. But they're like, "You're okay." They sent me home with like birth control to shrink the other cyst. I've never done that well on birth control, but I was like, I guess I'll do what they tell me. So I take the control, and I'm having the same feeling a week later. Hold on, Gemma wants to take her Elsa dress off. She's been dressed as a little princess all morning.
She's like, I'm
Let's
over
take
it.
Elsa. She prefers to be naked, and this thing is like so scratchy. These little princess dresses. Um, so I'm feeling the same way a week later, and I'm like, ugh, I'm gonna go back to the ER. And they do another CAT scan, and it turns out like the birth control had, or the hormones, had shrunk the cyst, um, just enough where it was like kind of dislodged from where it was. And it's called torsion. It like turned and like
Mm.
twisted my fallopian tube and cut off like blood to
The
that
blood supply,
ovary.
yeah.
And they were like, "You have to have surgery to fix this or you'll lose your ovary." Um, so yeah, I had surgery. I'll also say like this was really bizarre because at the time, like I definitely wasn't eating a lot. I was tiny and I had two plum-sized cysts in my abdomen that like I had no idea. Like I couldn't see that it just somehow became lodged. What do you need? Cat in the Hat? Okay, sorry. Gemma's really loving Cat in the Hat right now. So so yeah, I had the emergency surgery, and had to stay in the hospital. And I lived in Tampa at the time and I didn't have any family there and just felt really alone and sad. And um, finally had to like take care of my health in a way that I'd been ignoring in a long time for a long time. So yeah, I'd say like the illusion of invincibility definitely was gone then because before then I was like out drinking and dancing several times a week with my friends and just like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like having a small bag of chips for lunch or something like that and calling it a day and just like really not taking care of
What?
my yeah, not taking care of my body at all. Um yeah. So that was it. What about you?
Yeah. So as soon as I read that question, I immediately had this got taken back because it was a bit traumatic. I love the water. Love, love, love the water. The ocean, the pool, whatever. I guess being a Pisces, um, I love like that moving water too, like the rain and the fog and the dew and stuff like that. But I just love being in the water. And growing up, I learned how to swim at a young age. And I remember going to the beach. I might have been like 9 or 10. I'm gonna play with that. I'm gonna play with, nah, yeah, maybe 11, because I was out at the beach with my cousins, like by ourselves. And I would be the person that would go out past when the wave breaks. I would go out past and just be treading water, loving life. And something changed. And I felt it. I remember being like, I need to go back in. And I turned to face the beach to tell my cousin, hey, I'm coming back. And I see his eyes get really big. Huge wave comes and it takes me under. And when I tell you, I didn't know up from down, I didn't know right from left. And I guess I'm being tumbled and I see light. And so I'm like trying to make my way back. I barely hit the surface and I get pulled back down. It was a fight. And I remember every time I would break the surface, I could see people like trying to like come to me to help. But I remember in that moment being like, dang, dang, I should have told my mom that I loved her this morning.
Oh.
And yeah, and there was something about that moment. And I finally like got under control and I was able to like get myself back to the beach. But in that moment, like me as a child realized that, in my family, we don't speak these things to each other. And my last moments as a kid was, in that moment that I thought it was going to be my last moments, coughing up, drinking in water. I was like, dang, I should have told my mom I loved her this morning. And
Oh.
so that was the moment that I was like, oh shit, like I'm I'm not as like whatever. I can die. I can get hurt. I can not be here. And so from then on, I was a little bit more careful in the water, right? That was the lesson. But that was when I realized that I was not invincible. Up until then, I just did whatever. So, yeah.
Oh, that sounds terrifying, and I'm extremely glad that something was looking out for you that day.
Yes, I'm pretty sure there were like water nymphs or maybe a mermaid helped me get to where I needed to be. But I I mean, I honestly don't know. Like it all happened so quickly, but something helped me, I'm sure. I'm sure. Because I have work to do, man. Had to get to this point.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Oh, baby Rashida.
man, that was a deep question.
Yeah. Okay, and then we're going deeper now.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm
You
ready.
ready?
Yeah.
Okay. This is not deeper.
Okay, pick another one if you think.
Okay. I just want to say what it is really quick
Yeah.
because it says, I think we can answer this really quickly. If we were in a band, what would our name be?
That is, that's like question one, right?
I know. It's your spiritual besties, duh.
Yeah. Like, hello.
Maybe
Okay,
these are supposed
okay,
to be more fun.
okay. Let's take it a bit deeper. What would your instrument be, Lauren?
Well, I don't play anything, so I would sing.
Yeah. I see myself immediately in this like flowy dress with slits up to like, my hips, playing like this harpsichord, right?
Ooh.
Hmm.
Maybe I'd do like a bongo and we can do like a mix between like some classical and twerk.
Yes, I'm all for it.
Okay. Look out,
Okay,
everybody. It's
here
coming.
we go.
Oh, this is the perfect question for
Mm-hmm.
us, and you will know why immediately. Okay. All
Okay.
right. Do you believe everyone has a calling? If so, do you think I found mine?
So, yes, I believe everybody has a calling. When I think of you and if you've found yours, my first immediate answer is yes, but. And the reason why there's a but is because I feel like, Lauren, and I think I've shared this with you before, like 5 years from now, yes, you're going to be in a different place, but as far as like your dharma, what you're creating, what you're bringing to the world is going to be and look so different than where it is now. So I do think you found your calling in helping, women find their wholeness and really like tapping into that part of themselves. But I feel like you're just on the cusp of that, and your dharma is going to look, your purpose is just going to look so different in the future, like further from what we can even imagine. That's the feeling I'm getting.
Well, thank you. You know what? I envision that for myself too. And sometimes I'm like, maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's delusion. No, I don't know. Like, is it
Maybe
real?
it's Maybelline.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I I don't know if you felt this way because I feel like you're the same type of person. Like you're going to make a positive impact. Um, but you do make a positive impact on the world, but wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you're going to do that. And I think it's just going to grow. But I always felt that like from the time I was born, or from the time
Mm,
from when I can remember, like there's just something out there. There's something out there. And like maybe I watched too many Disney movies. I don't know. Um, but I always felt like there's more, and I just keep trying to like listen to my inner voice and follow the breadcrumbs and see where it goes. So thanks for seeing it too.
yeah, I feel that so much. I definitely feel um that feeling of moreness. I wouldn't
Mm.
necessarily say that I've felt it from the beginning. I was like growing up, it was more so for me. You're gonna go to school, you're gonna graduate, you're gonna get a good job, then you can think about getting married, and then you can think about having kids. Like that was like the tenet of like what
Mhm.
I needed to do. And so in my mind, I was like, all right, I guess I got to be a doctor or a lawyer and this and that. And I felt like such a disappointment. Um, and those things just did not call to me, especially when I got out of school and went into nursing school and was like, this is not for me. I felt like I was letting everybody down, but it wasn't until I realized that this is my life and I get to choose. And then having Macy, really activated that like part of me to being like, okay, I can make a difference in like a really positive way. And it doesn't have to be in this like box of what society says it needs to be or what it needs to look like. Even now, I'm trying to like revamp how I do like my hands-on massages and make it more mindfulness and more like holistic in a way and have a different approach than this someone coming and getting to my table, getting a massage and getting out. Like there are so many ways that I can bring light into this world in whatever facet I decide to do that. And yeah, like I totally feel that. And I think even for me, 5 years from now, things are going to look so different. So
Mm,
one,
yeah,
I can't wait.
it's great to have like that space for magic too, because we can envision 5 years from now, and maybe things will follow that exact plan, but maybe life will surprise us in beautiful ways too. I mean, life certainly has a way of surprising us in all kinds of ways, so why not
This way.
beautiful and amazing ones, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel
um,
that so much.
and I do think everyone has a purpose. I think like what that looks like is totally different for each person, and I think that um, I don't know. We don't need to like have preconceived notions about it. Like someone's purpose might be like spreading joy everywhere they go, and they're just a kind person, and they're not famous, or they're not in like service work even, but like Judy from IT just makes everyone smile every day, and that
Yeah.
that might be that might be her purpose. And I unfortunately, like I think a lot of don't ever people live without like finding their full potential for a lot of different reasons. Maybe it's trauma, maybe it's conditioning, maybe it's circumstantial, maybe it's, lack of belief in themselves, worry about what other people think. Like there are so many reasons that somebody might not step into that full potential. But I think more and more people are awakening to the concept. And I think we all need to, like on an individual level, keep exploring what that means and what our values are and how to embody the values. Um, and that it doesn't have to be like through your job, but it can be.
Mhm.
Um, it could be through the way you parent. Like there are just so many different ways to express your purpose, and
Yeah.
big or small.
Yeah. And I think like the key and what you're saying with that is, Lauren, is like your purpose does not mean like your job. I feel like when we start talking about Dharma or purpose, immediately people like go into, okay, this is what I'm going to do for work now. And when I started in this process of like really wanting to help people discover what their purpose was, I would say things like, you can love your job. Your purpose isn't like this. The goal is not for me to say, quit your job and become a blah, 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 whatever it is, right? That's not it could show up in that way, but the key is like really gaining that clarity. Like I feel like that's like the biggest key, like of unlocking all the potential in your purpose is gaining that clarity within your life to kind of see who you are, your potential, your possibilities, and honestly know yourself in a way that you know exactly what lights you up, not what other people are telling you.
Hmm.
Sorry, I get really passionate about it because this was me, right? This was
Yeah.
me a while ago, and it doesn't have to be like what you physically do for money, right? Like your purpose, like you said, could just be Judy. Judy loves her IT job. She loves making people laugh and smile. And even when people call for, computer issues, like they feel so much better getting off the call with her because she just has a way of shining her light through her headset onto the computer and making it work. Like that is
Yes,
like
Judy. Yes.
yes, that is purpose, right? So like finding that purpose, finding that clarity, everyone has a job to do in the sense of one, figuring out what it is that you're supposed to do and like having the best time with it. And having the best time with it, meaning like figure that out and seeing how you can like expand on that. Not from a
Hmm.
sense of just like growing to grow to get numbers, but like how can you become even bigger in this purpose that you've found for yourself, that you've remembered, like the reason why you came here? And what does that look like? Because what it looks like for you is not going to look like what it looks like for Joe on Insta, right? Which is not going to look like for Lauren or me. It's just going to be like different. And it's your job to bring that individuality in the way that only you can
Mhm.
to the world and birth that, right? So I
Yeah.
love purpose
Well,
talk and
I love your passion.
well, there's just so much there's just so much joy in it. And I really wish there was like a course, multiple courses in school where people talk about this instead of this is what you can be. This is where you
Yeah.
land and you have the aptitude to be a blah blah blah. No.
Well, it's funny too, because like the things we do, besides like, okay, massage therapy, you probably knew what that was. Yoga, I had like a vague idea. Like when I was a kid, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm going to be a yoga teacher and own a yoga studio and have a podcast, like, and write books and do this and that, because I didn't even like know what any of this stuff was, or it wasn't even a
Right.
thing. It
It
wasn't a
wasn't
thing
even,
then.
yeah, it wasn't a thing, but when you got introduced, maybe it was a thing for other people. Like you wouldn't do that, right? Like
Hmm.
that's
Oh
something completely
yeah.
different. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Absolutely. So I think, yeah, for kids, I think it's so important just to indulge like what lights them up and like help them find out what they love about themselves and what they're good at. Instead of being like, what are you going to be when you grow up? What are you going to be when you grow up? It's like, why do they
Yeah.
need to think about that right now?
And they don't. And even when you're 18, like, yes, you're in all intents and purposes an adult, okay, I guess, right? But
Hmm.
you are not supposed to have your shit together magically when you graduate from high school. That shit does not happen. Okay,
No.
maybe for the few of us that like really know what they want, right? But
Hmm.
for the average teenager, 18-year-old, like we're still trying to, hell, I'm 36 and I'm still trying to figure shit out. Like I was
Yeah,
just
like we always
talking
will
about that
be.
earlier, right? And I think
Hmm.
that's like part of life, but knowing that it's okay. Real quick, Lauren, I remember whenever I would come home and I would go on and off to like different schools. Like I went to VCU, I went to Lynchburg College, I went to Hampton University, I went to Centura College. Like I've been to a lot of schools, and every time I would come home, but also I'm a manifesting generator, so that kind of lets you know about that portion of it. But my mom would always look at me and she would say, "My daughter, you just don't know what you want to do with your life yet, do you?" And I didn't until now because I found it. So yes, I'm hoping somebody comes along, and I'm pretty sure I just haven't seen it happen, but I'm hoping somebody comes along to be able to like help the school system out and like bring them up to speed on, our children and like really encourage them to find what it is they're supposed to be and do and how to shine their light with the world and spread that transmission. So,
Yeah, I agree. Before we move to the last question, real quick, I just want to say yes, you are absolutely in your purpose and in your dharma. But I do think it'll shift and change over time, and we don't really know exactly what that's going to look like yet. I know you have plans and ideas, but I think like it's been really beautiful from my end to witness at this point, like in the last year plus together, and I can't wait to see what's next, and what we do together too.
oh, thank you, friend. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. So pick our last question,
Okay, okay. Last question.
because we have a hard stop here in a few minutes.
Okay. What am I most qualified to give advice about?
Hmm.
That's a weird question. I don't know if I like that question.
Well, I don't know. You just went off on purpose for a
I
long
know, like
time.
I feel like I answered it already.
Yeah, for sure. Like Dharma and purpose, that's something you're certified in. You also know a lot about the body, um, about massage. You know so much about motherhood. I feel like you know a lot about a variety of topics. And you have a deep well of wisdom, I think, about a lot of about life in general. And it's kind of infused with your intuitive insights too. So it's a really special thing. Um, I would say, yeah, the number one thing is is likely purpose. And I think that everyone listening should hire Rashida if you are questioning your purpose in any way, because she will set you straight.
Thank you. And we'll have fun doing it.
Yes.
Okay. So for you, okay, I feel like you were obviously qualified, to give advice about the body as well. Being a yoga teacher, you're very knowledgeable just in general about that and how, maybe different poses may affect. Because I know when I was asking you when I was pregnant, I was like, Lauren, this does not feel good. And you were like, I got you, girl. I can give you this. But I also feel like you just have this like unique perspective, one on life and what it means to like really tap into the feminine, if that makes sense. And I feel like you are really qualified to kind of lead, you know, I want to say women. I mean, it could be whomever, but really qualified to lead women and give advice to women around those things about how they can tap into that more feminine energy, how it may look every day. Now, with you being a mom, you have not only the single perspective of you being on your own, but the perspective of being a mom and ways to be able to infuse all of those things to create this one whole person. Like I get wholeness from you, and I know like you are passionate about helping spread that awareness to other women as well. And I feel like you were totally qualified to do that. You have
Oh,
this way about you, Lauren. And I'll also say too, I can't remember who I was talking to. It was somebody in your book club that you had. And they said, I know Lauren because I felt so bad in my body because I was larger, I was this, I was that, and I was afraid to go into a yoga class. And she made me feel so good about being me.
mm,
And I didn't feel shame or anything like that. So, advice, yes, but I just think you were so qualified to like just help women tap into that part of themselves and not feel any type of like judgment or any way about how their body moves and just like really being accepting of the body, of our true self. So, yes, queen, that is what you're
oh,
qualified to give advice about.
well, thank you. Thank you, friend. And I want to say, I think for both of us, and I think this is so true for not everyone's passions, but a lot of people's passions. Like we've had to go through really hard times. Sorry, you gotta yell at
Mhm.
baby. Uh, we had to go through the shit to get to where we are. You know, all of the hard times, the obstacles, that becomes like the fuel for your purpose, right? It becomes like the fertilizer for your growth. So if anyone's like deep in that right now, just know like it doesn't have to be that way forever. And in fact, it might be something that like sparks a whole different avenue in your life that's positive and beautiful and can help people in a big way.
Mhm.
Um, I know we both can identify with that. Like, how can we talk about these things if we haven't been in the shadows of them? You know,
Absolutely.
like how can you truly be lit up talking about purpose if you didn't have your therapist telling you that you're a person, maybe you're just a person who doesn't have passion, right?
Yeah.
And who am I to talk about like loving your body or loving your wholeness if I didn't go years hating my body and feeling broken, you know? Um, it's, hopefully there are people maybe in this new generation who arrive to this type of work without having to go through some of that stuff, because they're getting like the generational wisdom. But I think like, I don't know. I don't know why I felt the need to say that exactly, but just for anybody who's going through the hard stuff, know that it sucks and and you don't have to see the positive in it while you're going through it, but it is good to zoom out and have that wider perspective of like maybe this is, an important part of my story, and your story is beautiful.
And it's unique to you.
Yeah.
And you get to
Yeah.
bring that uniqueness to the world in a way that is going to help that next person that needs that. And I think that's the beautiful part about um, purpose and really stepping into your authentic self-expression is that there are so many people on this planet. And the reason why there's so many people on this planet is because not everybody is for everybody. You have to be able to find that group or that person or those people that are uniquely for you. And you can find that and become aligned by getting that clarity, learning who you are, tapping into that pain and transmuting that into something different than holding on to that pain.
Hmm.
So, Lauren, I know we can go on and on about purpose, and we will probably have another conversation around that because you know how passionate I am. But we must move on.
Yeah. Yeah. This was so much fun. If everyone listening, if you enjoyed this more kind of free flowing, multi topic conversation, let us know. I, I would definitely love to do it again. It just feels good. We love to
Mhm.
sit and teach. Like we're both very comfortable in that space, but being able to just chat and be vulnerable and I don't know,
Just be
be present with
real.
each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
scripted. Just, I mean, and so many things come up from it that you never know. And I think that's how conversation should be.
Hmm.
Hi, Gemma. I think that's how conversation should be. So, you know, get with your people and maybe I know Lauren will jot these questions down and maybe ask your people, you know, hey, let's have a discussion and let's get deep.
Yeah, and the deck again is called "We're Not Really Strangers." It's by Esther Perel, and yeah, maybe it's for the next party. I think like as adults, we can get into this rut where you need like alcohol or substances to get anywhere with people, but you don't. You just need an open heart and some
Hmm.
bravery.
Yes,
And I'm really grateful that like these kind of conversation decks have started becoming popular. So I think there's this deep need for people to go deeper, to be seen, to be heard, to see and hear others. And I think that is like truly how we're going to bring more peace into the world.
absolutely. I
Yeah, more
completely agree.
understanding. Yeah. Instead of just yelling at each other online.
Yeah. Well, Bessie, this has been so much fun. I cannot wait to
Yeah.
do this again. And I love you so much. And Gemma,
I love you too. Love you.
love
Yeah,
ya.
my little naked baby. Uh, love to your sweet little babies on your phone screensaver. Maisie and Miles. I'll forever be picturing them now in that little rocking chair.
Yes, I'll post it so people can see. It's a totally it's totes adorbs.
Super, super.
Love
All
ya.
right, love you, friend. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for joining us for this incredible episode. If you loved it, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and tell all your besties about us.
You can also connect with us on Instagram at Your Spiritual Besties Podcast, and be sure to say hello and share your thoughts about the episode. Love you, bestie. Talk soon.